Hello, I'm Regina McCann-Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management, and welcome to our Women in Wealth series. Today, I have a new friend with me, and Shelley, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and what you love about what you do?
Sure. Well, Regina, thank you so much for having me. So my name is Shelley Snapp. I'm a licensed therapist in the state of Pennsylvania. So I provide therapy for teens and adults who are struggling with anxiety, PTSD, um, burnout, work-life balance, perfectionism issues, um, trauma histories, family trauma history, anything that kind of falls under that umbrella. I also run a workshop on um, perfectionism. It's called Overcoming Perfectionism, which will run again in the fall. Um, so I work for a practice we're in Wayne, but it's very close to the King of Prussia border. Um, our practice is called Choosing Change Counseling, and we provide services for a wide range um, of different therapeutic concerns, which I can always get into more later if we have the time. But what I love about what I do is being able to have the privilege of being a part of people's therapeutic journeys, being able to be a part of the change that they're hoping to make in their lives, whatever it is that they're struggling with or whatever it is that they want to work on. I I feel so honored to be a part of that journey with them and to be able to be a safe holding space for them to come into my office or virtually and work on that with them. And I have, whether it's we work together for a couple months, or I also have clients who stick with me for years. And it's again, it's such an honor and a privilege to be a part of that journey for people, and it really fills my cup. It makes me feel very fulfilled in my career.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you're also providing such a great service. I know, especially during and after the pandemic, you know, mental health has had a major spike in need, and there's not enough providers, first of all, and sadly, insurance and the general public doesn't, view it as normal as, hey, my heart is broken and I need to go get it fixed. There's that
Mm-hmm.
social pariah type of thing. So I'm so glad you're in that field, because there's so many people who need your help, especially the juvenile, the kids who are going through all that struggle. And I feel so sorry for the kids who, I guess, different ages, but I think about, when you're going through that teenage angst and that insecurity and all the other emotions that you're going through, and you were stuck at home and afraid to go
Mm-hmm.
outside your house. And oh my gosh, like, how have you seen the change in the help that's been needed since then?
Oh my goodness. Exactly what you were saying. I mean, there's such a need for good providers, for good therapists. And yeah, like you said, I mean, during the pandemic, kids were shut in their houses and their social worlds were virtual. And so, something that we are seeing a lot is a need for social skills support in particular, and then the emotional coping skills support as well, kind of like in tandem with that.
Right.
And actually, at here at Choosing Change, three of our therapists run social skills groups for two different demographics of kids. So I think the older kids, I believe it's 10 to 13. Brianna's running that group in the fall. And then during the summer, we had a group for kind of like the younger kids. I believe it was like 6 to 9-ish. So kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
separate that. But there is very much a need, and it seems like parents are looking for that support of, how can I support my kids, because their world is completely different than the world that their parents grew up in,
yeah,
obviously. So
yeah,
yeah, like you said, there's very much a need for it. And so we try as much as possible to be out in the community, spreading the word of like, hey, we're here, we're available, reach out to us for all kinds of different, whether it's individual, family, couples, or support groups. We're here. We're here and
yeah.
available.
That's great. That's great. Now, I know also, not personally, but I talked to a lot of people and they were saying even even though they recognized their children needed help or they needed help, it was so hard to get an appointment with anybody because everybody else was finally realizing they needed some help. How
Mhm.
has that kind of equalized, now, or are you still like really backlogged on appointments, or do you have openings? Like, are you taking new clients, things like that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think for a while there after the pandemic, everybody was very booked up from what I
Yeah,
could tell. I know
yeah.
here at the practice, because of how many providers we have, I believe we have about 10 at the moment. Um, there is almost always immediate availability. So like you
Oh,
you
good.
could call us, email us, um, and you would be able to be seen almost immediately within probably a week or two.
Oh, that's
Um,
great.
and then the other important thing about just being in the field in general is networking and knowing people. So even if we have a struggle with getting a client placed with somebody that we feel like would be the best fit for them, we'll refer them out. We have a long list of people that we're all acquainted with within our professional network, that we can say, maybe I'm not the best fit for you, but I know somebody at this practice in one town over who would absolutely be great for you, and like we'll connect them and like refer them. So, something else that I appreciate about the field too, is that we I know for me, I try not to be competitive necessarily. I know in some professions it's cutthroat or competitive, or like you're vying for clientele or customers, but for us it's all about making sure that we can provide the best level of treatment for a client. And even if that means that it's not us, that's okay. We just want to
Right.
do what is best for the people in our community.
Well, that speaks volumes. It really does. And
Yeah.
getting the person to the right care, the right type of care, the right
Yeah.
matchup. That's totally, totally important.
Yeah, and that's why I always tell people, like, even if you're unsure if you're ready for therapy, or unsure if you can afford it, work it into a schedule, I always tell people, like, just reach out to a therapist anyway, and kind of, so they can be kind of like a springboard, or just to kind of like work through those options, like just having that clarity of, okay, this is what's available to me. So now I have a better idea of whether or not I can manage having therapy in my life, if I can afford it, if I can, work it into my life. So I always tell people,
Yeah.
like, just reach out to us anyway. No obligation to start therapy. Just sometimes it's good to just explore and ask questions.
Yep. And learn more about yourself through it. I think that's key.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And now, you mentioned that you were dealing with some younger groups and some middle school groups. Uh, do you go up into adults, or do you focus mainly on kids?
Yeah, so I would say, so for myself, I primarily work with adults.
Okay.
I have some teens in my caseload, and some young adults, like college age and kind of like that transitioning period. But I work with a lot of adults. I have a specialized certification in what's called prolonged exposure therapy, and it's a treatment for PTSD. So I have on my caseload um, a range of different types of traumas that people have experienced. So it could be anything from like combat and war trauma to domestic violence trauma, could be like severe accidents or near-death experience trauma. So I get a lot of those referrals. When someone calls us up and says, "This is what happened," Mariah, who is our group owner, will say, "Okay, Shelley's probably the best fit for you with that." Now, at our practice, we have other therapists who focus on the children and other therapists who focus on the teens, um, and provide services that work for those folks. And we also have, on top of that, we have a nutritional counselor, who, if we have clients who might be struggling with some disordered eating, or maybe like body image issues, we will get them connected with her. Her name is Allie. And then we have career counseling as well. And so if there's maybe like a transitioning young adult trying to explore options, or maybe, you're halfway through your career and wanting to make a complete shift and just explore that, career counseling is a wonderful option for that too. So again, like,
Wow, a little
we
bit.
have
Yeah,
we
you guys
have a
have.
bunch of therapists, and we try to each specialize in different things, um, so that we can provide a wide range of options and services for people who are reaching out to us.
That's fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
especially so well rounded in the offering, because you really don't know when you start into this what someone's real need is. So you guys are
Yeah.
hitting a lot of different areas. So great, great, great. And I
Mhm.
believe you also won the Mainline Parent Award
Yeah.
this recent go around, right?
Yeah. So we won the Mainline Parent Award for best mental health resource.
Nice.
And then there was also a family favorite for therapy services. I might be misquoting that. It's been a
That's
few months
okay.
since that the award season.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were so honored to have that award and that designation, because as a practice, we've been up and running for a little over 2 years. So in some ways, we still feel a little bit new to the community, even though many of us have been practicing therapists for a while. Um, I'm going on 8 years, I believe, as a practicing therapist, but as a group practice and kind of like a community mental health support center, it's been a little over 2 years. So to be able to have those nominations and to be recognized in that way, it's so cool. It's such an
That
honor, and it
is,
definitely made us all glow, and made us feel like we're having an impact. So
that's great. That's great. I'm really, really excited for you and for your group. What is
thanks.
how, if people want to find more about your organization, your group, where would they go to find more information?
Yeah, so our website is choosingchangecounseling.com. Um, And so you can read about each of the therapists on that website. You can reach out through that website. There's a contact form where you can describe what you're looking for, or maybe like some of the struggles that you might be having, and we'll take that, look at it, and say, okay, maybe this type of therapy would be best for this person. And we offer free 15-minute phone or virtual consultations so that you can actually see your therapist face to face and kind of get
Yeah.
a feel for, is this person someone that
Yeah.
I feel like I can open up to? So yeah, easy to reach out through our website. We're very active on our social medias. yeah, media. So there's Choosing Change Counseling on Instagram, Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. I think one of our therapists has a TikTok. I tried to do a TikTok. I gave up on it. I don't know.
I can't. I just can't.
Yeah. So I would say personally, I'm most active on my Instagram. Um, so yeah, I mean, you can find me on there. I'm Shelley Snapp LMFT on my Instagram, and each of the therapists have their own social media presence. So it's pretty easy to find us, I think. So
Awesome. 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 That's great. Okay. So, what, if any, challenges have you faced as a professional woman?
well, it's I think there's definitely a reason why I work with so many clients on burnout and self-care, because I myself have struggled with that so much over the years, especially in my earlier years in my career. I would definitely get into the habit of completely overworking myself to try to keep up with expectations, or even whether they were real expectations or um, imagined expectations, to be good enough, to be the most successful that I could be, whatever that
Yeah.
would look
Yeah.
like.
It's a lot of
Um,
pressure.
yeah, yeah. And especially as like an early career therapist, you have a lot of um, responsibility and pressure. I mean, and a lot of imposter syndrome, because sometimes you come out of grad school and you feel like, okay, I'm supposed to have all the answers. I'm supposed to be the best therapist that I can be. Um, which, while it is wonderful to have that motivation, it can also turn into problematic overworking, burning yourself out, taking on way too much. So another struggle that I've had as a professional woman is experiencing lots of vicarious trauma. So that's kind of the trauma that we take on, hearing about people's daily struggles and their traumas and what they've been through. Um, and so that's really important information to know about yourself as a therapist. And then we take that and we figure out, okay, how do I best take care of myself?
Yeah.
I think a professional struggle for me, and for any therapist, is just figuring out, how can I take care of myself and also be a person who's in a lot of ways taking care of others on a daily basis. Um, so I think there's no perfect answer for that and what that looks
Yeah.
like. I know
Yeah.
personally, I try to take um, lots of personal time when I am off from work. I am off from work. I don't answer
Good.
my emails. I don't answer phone calls. Like I'm very strict about my work hours.
Yeah.
Um, Even at Choosing Change here, we're only allowed to work 4 days a week. So for me, my off day is Mondays. So when I'm off, I'm really off.
Good for
I'm,
you. That's great.
I'm
You
I'm
need
the
that.
hardest one.
You need it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yes, yeah, and that's our time to take care of our doctor's appointments and our families and our relationships, and have social time, and do things that are fulfilling to us, so that we can show up in our full capacity
Right.
for other people. I mean, you've probably heard the phrase a million times, you can't pour from an empty cup. Um, and that is very, very essential for therapists. Is like, we have to make sure that we're filling our cup, um, so that we're not completely emptying ourselves for other people. So
Mm.
those are, yeah, definitely some of the professional struggles I've had, and I think that probably resonates with many, many therapists and anyone in a helping profession, really, where you're dealing with just the human condition, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No, that's key. And you don't think about that, how you have to take all that on to relieve someone else. And then what do you do to release it somewhere else so that you can go on and keep helping someone? I can't even, because I can't even watch movies that are too like, you know, harsh and on the emotion side. So I can't, I can
Yeah.
only imagine how much downloading you have to do for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
that's why there's such an emphasis on just making sure that we take care of ourselves and practicing what we preach. You know, we
Yeah.
talk to people all day about you know, take care of yourself, have a strong support system, have good coping skills. But if we're not doing that for ourselves, you know,
Yeah.
what's the
And you know
point?
what? Yeah. And more people need to incorporate that into their professional slash personal lives, because we have become a 24/7 society, and you do need to step away from work and not
Hmm.
look at your emails at 9 o'clock at night or at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You have to have that separation, and you do need downtime. So
Yeah.
good for you. And more people need to follow that
Yeah.
pattern. Love it.
Yeah. You know, I think I mentioned earlier, like I work with a lot of people on kind of like that work-life balance. And a topic that I'll bring up a lot is think about what work was life pre technology. So you know, I don't
Hmm.
know, like, you know, 90s,
Yeah.
80s, like,
Yeah.
right, the work life that your parents grew up in. When
Right.
you left the office, for the most part, you're unavailable. You couldn't answer an email,
No.
or if they needed to call you, they would call the house phone. It wasn't immediately in your face all the time. So I'll work with people on turn off your notifications, turn off your inbox, put your phone on silent and do not disturb. Like there is very much a behavioral aspect of needing to fully separate yourself from work, and it's so essential for your mental health.
For sure, for sure. I
Yeah.
love it. Love it. So you have a lot of road ahead of you for your career, but we're going to get in
Hmm.
a time machine and go forward many, many years. What would your vision of retirement would be? I don't even
I
think that sounded like proper English. What is your vision? What is your vision of retirement?
I honestly feel like I have no clue.
That's okay.
I
That's okay.
I I saw this question coming up on our prompts for today, and you know, like you were saying, like for me in particular, it is very far in the future. Um, and so you know, there's still so much life to happen. And my hope is that I will just have the time and the freedom and enough financial support to be able to engage in hobbies that I love and be around people that I love. I think that's the best way that I could possibly envision what that looks like for right now.
Perfect. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. There's no right answer.
Yeah,
It's just everyone's different,
yeah, yeah.
and you have plenty of time to, figure out which way you want to go. And the key there is that it's not your grandma's retirement, right? Probably 10, 15 years ago, people thought when they retired, just like, all right, we'll do some trips here and there and we'll just kind of chill, the whole rocker chair on the porch thing. That
Hmm.
is not today's retirement. People are very
Yeah.
active in their retirement. I kid around with my clients like my retirees are harder to get hold of than my worker bees, because
Uh-huh.
they've their whole entire work career like, oh, well, I want to do these things, this whole laundry list of things, but I don't have time because I'm raising a family, I'm working, blah blah blah. And then when they retired, they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do all this stuff. So they're busy doing things.
Hmm.
So it's kind of fun,
Hmm.
kind of fun.
That's awesome. I mean, that's great to
Yeah.
hear. I'm
Yeah.
so happy for those
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's really interesting. I think, you
Cool.
know, what a really cool like generational shift that I think we're seeing happening is again, like in that theme of like work-life balance, how you were just saying, like some of those retirees spent so many of their careers so like bogged down in work that they didn't have time to do what they love. And
Right.
I think now, like with my generation, we're focusing on, okay, like work is great and everything, but we need to live our lives now too. We need to have a great social life and do the activities that we love and all of that. So
Good
it'll
for
be
you.
interesting to see how that impacts retirement when we get there, and what that
Yeah.
looks like for millennials, when
Mm,
we eventually get there. So
good for you. Good for you. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It was a pleasure
yeah,
having you.
thank you so much for your time. And like I said, if anyone happens to be listening to this and feeling like, I could do therapy, just reach out to us. We're, always available for a chat. It can be
Hmm.
helpful.
Yeah, I highly encourage it. Highly encourage it.
Yeah.
And then your call to action today is to separate your work from personal time. Give yourself the personal time. Don't be checking work emails, phone calls when you're supposed to be off so that you can refuel your energy.
Yes, yes. Lean into those personal relationships, those hobbies, the self-care. Yeah, all of that. Fill
Perfect.
your cup. That's
Yep,
so,
fill your cup.
so
Love it.
necessary. So
Love it. Love
necessary.
it. Awesome. Well, thank you again. And thanks
Of
everyone else
course.
for joining us today on the Women in Wealth series. Again, I'm Regina McCann Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management. Our website is forgewealth.com. You can follow me on Facebook and YouTube at Forge Wealth, and we're now on Instagram, Forge Wealth Management, and of course, LinkedIn, Regina McCann Hess. Go make it a great day.